Hi, my name is Dave Reske, CEO of Now Speed Marketing, and welcome to this edition of Marketing in the Now, where we talk about the best ideas of marketing and digital marketing. And my guest today is Zulfiya Forsythe, CEO and founder of the Amaldi Group, which is all about helping businesses buy back their time with AI and data analytics. Zulfiya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've had an amazing background in accounting, finance, data analytics, and now AI. And I'm just excited to hear about some of your experiences helping businesses change the world and change how they do things. So thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
So everybody's talking about AI, but as I've had conversations with business leaders about AI, I find that not that many of them have very specific ways that they want to really transform their businesses. And I just wanted to ask you, maybe just to start the conversation today, how do you see AI improving businesses?
Well, there's so many ways. One of the ways is business operations, streamlining things, automating repetitive work, but on the other side, also helping the companies scale and make more money with the resources that they have. I think that's a phenomenal one. So if we can talk about sales cycle, AI could help with shortening sales cycle. So now you can do the delivery faster. You can do the turnaround faster. And basically in the same amount of money, is same amount of time, close more deals, get more deals, and increase your revenue.
Yeah, it's super powerful in so many ways. Talk to me about, the specifics in this. Let's just use the sales cycle as an example because that's something that many people know about. And maybe think about a B2B example of this. What are the pieces of the sales cycle that you see, you know, being really great candidates for ways to improve with AI?
Absolutely. And I think one of them is very simple one. It's receptionist. It's AI receptionists are picking up the calls because what's happening is a lot of times it doesn't matter if you're business selling to the business or if it's the customers. Most of the times, if there's a phone call coming in, if the business is too busy to pick up the call or misses the call, then it's end up in, let's say, in responsible person's emails that needs to be listened, that needs to be then based on that voice recording, some actions need to be happening. But by the time the person comes to that phone call, it takes 1 to 2 days, maybe longer sometimes. And things get lost in translation. Where AI shines is now it picks up the call for you. It also transcribes the call, and then it creates actions from that call. So now no longer, if you're missing the call, you routing this call among your department or among your company to 5 people. It's like, oh, like listen to this thing. This is what they said. Listen to that thing. And sometimes you have to a kind of broken telephone there. You can catch yourself where now you train the AI to pick up the call, transcribe the call, and then route the task. It can even connect to your project management software. You can route the text to the appropriate party that's responsible to get back to that prospect or client faster. And that alone get you more leads, get them converted faster, and you can even nurture. Now they even logged in the system. So you have a whole workflow, the entire pipeline taken care of by AI. And now you can make more money because you're capturing these leads, and you're converting them faster.
Wow, and you're serving the customer better. We've all been in phone tree hell where we're kind of going through this menu. But what you're saying is that through AI and through tech, we can basically handle the call better, create a better customer experience, route that to the right person, and that person can get the human, the salesperson can get connected faster and with more information, and then can
Yes.
engage that prospect
Yes.
in a better way.
And I want to point this out. I want to make sure that I kind of paint the clear distinction here. I'm not talking about the AI that does the sales for you. I'm talking about the inbound call. Right now, we might call to so many business offices, and there usually would be some type of receptionist picking up the call, or would be some type of automated service. Then what happens? We leave a voicemail. And usually what happens, that voicemail ends up on somebody's email. So what I'm saying is um, inbound receptionist that is taking the information, converting that into actionable insight, but not really selling for you because that's still a human that needs to come in and kind of talk to the your prospect or the customer to guide them through the services that you're offering. But at least that first touch is captured. At least the customer or lead a prospect know that you care about them, that they're not in no man's world or
Yeah,
no
very,
man's world.
very powerful. And so can you, we're talking about inbound calls. Can you do the same thing with inbound email or inbound chat interactions?
Yeah, absolutely. Inbound emails, for example, right now, I have email AI agent on my personal emails. So, and it's following certain method. It's following Dan Martell's method that wrote the book Buy Back Your Time. And my emails every minute so AI works every minute where it sorts out my emails into following boxes to respond, waiting on, responded, review, receipts, and newsletters.
Hmm.
So every minute it goes through my emails and then pushes them in these type of boxes. It helped me a lot actually. At the first I was like kind of like skeptical because I like my emails and I like checking my emails and I know you get that kick. It's like, all right, who's emailing you, right? But when I implemented this method, I noticed that I am less reactive to the things and less distracted as well. And now my emails are organized. And I could say, all right, well, what is my to respond? What is my action item that I have to go get done, for example? And I don't sit there every minute. I get a ping and I'm like, what's happening there? So that helped me a lot to get focused. And also, I have executive assistant. It helped her tons to buy back her time because she's not monitoring every email now. It's all sorted out for her and she can, now it's delegated for her as well. So that's really great.
So much more efficient. And then from an organization standpoint, you can actually program some of the organization rules or behaviors into that email, I would imagine, so that you can
Yes.
bring that consistency. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the rest of the sales cycle though, because I'm intrigued by you've got some great ideas here to improve the productivity of salespeople through the sales cycle. Because I remember my first sales job right out of college. It was a summer job, and I learned this their sales methodology, which I'll never forget. It was survey, proposal, demo, close. So it was just this, and it was a one call close job. I won't even say what it is. I'm embarrassed. But that was the sales cycle, right? So it's survey, proposal, demo, close. Actually, there was an appointment setting step that we didn't have to do. So people set up appointments for us. But if you think about like a typical B2B sales cycle, you've been talking about the inbound call and how to make that more efficient. What are some other things that AI can do in the B2B sales process?
On the sales side.
Yes.
So let's go back to the one that you said. So it goes proposals writing. That's another one that's pretty big. So as soon as you have a customer now reaching out to you that want your services and that customer now in your CRM system, now you also have got what they looking for. And now let's say you do some type of research that you have to go put together. You have to put some type of a plan or some type of a template to fill out with your customer information. I would assume most businesses, if they have some type of process that they follow, they try to research the market of that, for example, of that customer that's coming in. So now you can have AI and then you can run deep research on that customer, on their market, um, on the products and services that they're looking for example. So you can put together a much thorough proposal for them. And you wouldn't be putting together, it's almost like AI will be putting together for you and presenting you that research and you make your judgment based on it.
Hmm.
It can also go fetch information from your database and say, well, customers that are for this type of a customer, this is our customers that I found in our database, and these are the similar things that you have offered for the similar price. And you also were able to complete your project or your estimate in this many hours or in this period. So it kind of helps you to search things not only on internet, but also search things within your database as well. So
Wow.
then you have this wholesome kind of response back and then fill that template for you. And
So
there oftentimes, go ahead.
I was going to say, so whereas a salesperson, an effective salesperson with that lead might spend hours really once they get the lead, research the customer's industry, research the customer, go back and get the right case studies, figure out what examples from our company apply best to that. That takes a lot of work, and not all salespeople do all of that detailed work, right? But what you're saying is that you can use AI to do all of that and really present that to the salesperson to say, hey, here's background of the company. Here's a little bit of their industry. Here's case studies, examples. It's almost like a sales brief, so that when they get
Oh
on the
yeah.
call, they can be so much more personal and so much more effective. Wow.
And that's
Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
And that's why you have like, I'm so excited about this because, and another thing, like for example, we have ChatGPTs right now or Gemini right now, and there's a deep research option there. So you right now, if you can utilize this right now, just go to ChatGPT, for example, and enable deep research, and you can type in this is my customer, for example, this is what industry they are in. Can you go and do the thorough, detailed research? And the way you want to, you kind of, with your prompt engineering, you want to follow this formula. I'm going to give you a simple formula. It's called RTQ. So role, so you define the role when you prompt and you say, okay, your role is marketing expert with this many years experience and this type of a domain expertise that has launched this many projects or has taken the company from X to X. You want to define that role as detailed as possible. That it was almost like if you had a marketing expert working for you and that knows your industry, that knows all the pain points of your industries, and knows your business well. So you define that role. That's R. T is you tell it the task. Your task is to put together a research and then you go, on this potential client and then you say in what form that research has to come in. So let's say your research has to come in Excel format or Google Doc, for example, you specify and what you want in that research. You say, well, I want your research to include their, for example, their website information, maybe the posts in social media, maybe, the contact information. So you want to specify what you're really looking for. Number, and then Q stands for, so it's RTQ and Q for questions. Before you provide your options, ask me questions to clarifying questions about my business, about my industry, about maybe things that I know only. Make sure that you provide the most thorough response. So if you follow that formula, RTQ, each time when you write a prompt, it's just a simple thing. You can see the output you get because most of the times people prompt just like, I want this, just like a two sentences. And that's why most of the times it would be like, well, the output that I'm getting is very dry, it's robotic, it's really, there's no context to it. But the point is, when you do this thorough research, now it has context, it has direction to go into. It's almost like you need to treat it as an intern. You have an
Mhm.
intern and that you have to train and educate. Well, that's one quick bite that you can use with ChatGPT or Gemini. But real the power comes in is when now you build AI agent where you don't have to prompt it each time. What it knows its responsibilities, it knows its tasks and roles and questions, it knows everything about your organization. That now you can just basically say, all right, this is my customer. That's it. It will fetch the name customer and goes through the workflow.
So let's talk more about that because I think that, what you're initially describing is something that every salesperson can do, right? They can
Yes,
start to use ChatGPT, they can use your RTQ model, they can say, "Hey, I got this prospect, I'm gonna do a little research with with AI, and I'm gonna be better prepared for this." But the next level of this, and this is where you and your organization can really come in, is really making it part of the process, part and building the systems around it. So could you talk
correct.
about like that next step? What's the benefit of kind of making it a consistent, repeatable system rather than just, hey, let's start train our salespeople to use AI and they're going to just be better, which
That's
again,
right.
it's not a bad thing to do, but how do you take it from there to a competitive advantage so that it's a system that we do better than anybody else in the industry?
Absolutely. So now that you have a sales agent, you can integrate it within your systems. Now it can have access, for example, to your internal documents. Now it has access to your database as well. Now it can have access to your Slacks, for example, and do now like scrape all of that almost like go do that deep research and come to you with the answers. And then you don't have to necessarily prompt it each time. It just, this is its task, and you really have to, you can start a conversation with it on Teams. So, for example, if also if the security right, is another part of concern here. If you want to keep your agents internally,
Mm.
that's the way you can start now your conversation, not in ChatGPT space, but within your internal communication tools like Teams, like Slack. You can Slack your agent, your sales agent. I have this new customer coming in. Can you tell me, do we have similar customers in the same size, for example, the same market size, in the same industry? What was the last thing we sold for them?
Mm.
Or for example, give me so why basically now that AI agent is going to go and find compatible information without you digging through your systems, through your CRMs, through finding all these folders where the information lives, or maybe even Slack messages that somebody mentioned. So now you have ability to connect all of these systems and you almost treat that sales agent as your virtual employee.
Wow, that's just so deep because, I mean, great salespeople do that naturally, right? But it takes a lot of memory and a lot of organizational, I don't know, fortitude to be able to do that for every person. What you're saying is you can take those best practices, build them into the systems, then make it easy for the salesperson to look like they did all this research. They know naturally everything that applies from our company to help, bring the solution to you and put it all together. So, if I take my old sales job, that first job I had out of college, survey, proposal, demo, close, I think what you're suggesting is we add a step that is like AI enabled research, which makes the
Yes.
survey better, makes the proposal better, makes the demo better. And there's some other steps you may want to add into that and then makes the close more probable. Right.
Yeah.
That's
You
powerful.
almost Yeah, you almost train that sales AI agent as your, again, as a virtual employee. And each time you can have ability, well, add additional responsibilities. Well, now you know this. And it's wild, actually. I want to introduce one thought. Almost you look at the AI agent as it will have a resume.
Hmm.
So you worked in your industry with this many years experience. This is a technological stack that's familiar with within your industry because you exposed it to Slacks, let's say to your CRM, whether it's Salesforce, whether it's HubSpot. And now it also knows your other system, your other record keeping system, for example, where you do the management of some type of purchasing and sales system, right? So now it has ability now it's like, all right, I'm a digital assistant with this many years of experience in your industry. This is the technological stack that I'm familiar, and these are my responsibilities.
Hmm.
And these are my achievements, even.
Hmm.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's a totally great concept. Talk to me about the technical side of this. Are we talking about like a custom GPT? Are we talking about proprietary technology that sits within on a company's server inside their firewall? Is this hosted somewhere? What's the technical stack that really enables this kind of capability? The
Abs-
security, the learning, the deep knowledge behind a company's firewall.
Absolutely. And that depends on the company. So, again, they can host that all that information in their local servers. And that would be probably like, for example, when we talk about ChatGPT, it's AI models. So really it's large language models that OpenAI offers, but now it offer on the developer side. So now you do API calls. For example, that's how you can use OpenAI models, GPT-4 more, for example, or 1.0, or like different models that they have for different type of purposes. Or you can also use models from Gemini, for example. There's so many of them, or Claude models, Sonnet 3.5, and so on and so forth. So now the way you really take power of these models is where you use them as a developer. And you've wrapped them, you connect them to your external systems, and you've wrapped them, for example, in your communication tools, or even standalone, let's say, browser. You could do that as well.
Yeah, very, very powerful. We've talked about handling inbound calls. We've talked about this research phase of the sales process. I think we have time maybe for one more. So maybe one more step. Are there any other steps in the typical B2B sales process that you think could be really revolutionized by AI?
Client onboarding.
Hmm.
I think the first impression that businesses could make on their clients in client onboarding. Every time now you have that client, well, what happens, right? You start collecting the information, you start saving that information, record keeping that information, and then maybe you present them with some type of a thanks so much for signing up with us and streamlining that process. And now it makes you shine because the client's like, oh wow, like now you don't have to manually go in and compile your agreements, for example. You customer is happy to sign on with you, come on the board with you, and now you have to put together, let's say, some type of contract agreements. You have to put together some type of, let's say, template that you want your customers to fill out. And then you want to put together maybe invoice that you have to go invoice them on. And then you have to go and you want to maybe put the minutes of the last thing that you talked to them about. Now you have to save that all, you have to create all that information, you have to save that information, and then you also have to send that all information. So I'm just kind of like on a simple level right now. That's what we're doing actually, even in our company. So now you can just again use one of your communication tools and say, start a draft email, client onboarding email for this person. And now AI is going to go take your agreement, take your template that you send to your customer, create the invoice in QuickBooks, generate the minutes based on the last conversation that you had if you're using some type of note taker, and put that together in the email and gets back to you and say, can you review it? Now you review it, and if everything is good, you basically send, you know, it's a push button.
Yeah, and then enabling all of the communication that happens through that, the client onboarding, like you said, the email, but also the invoice that goes out, the invoice reminder, the dunning letter if they don't pay the invoice, all of those process. So it takes, there's so much in institutional knowledge in an organization, but it takes really a process and systems person to take that, and workflows have been around for many years, but now
Yes.
AI enabling those workflows with really what's possible today. It sounds like that's really what your organization does, and that's what you're really an expert in doing.
Yes, absolutely. Now you can track of once they did complete the information, you say, thank you so much for completing, exciting working with you. So you constantly give them feedback. And what I've noticed is actually some customers do like a lot of communication, but also customers like some type of a, when you go to Amazon, right? When we buy something, you get some type of a thank you receipt. But most of the times, when somebody pays, like in B2B business, it's not like they automatically get something. It takes time for the processes to kick in, for departments or humans to start taking care of that. But here it's like automatic. Oh, thank you for signing on with our agreement. Thank you for paying us. The customer gets something right away.
Yeah. And I can imagine that some organizations might complain that that dehumanizes the process. But I would imagine that if you think through the workflow carefully, you could also rehumanize the process because you can
Yes.
build notification in for people to connect with customers and clients throughout the process in a way that makes it feel more personal and more engaging and serves the customer better. So you don't have to use AI to depersonalize. You can really create whatever level of engagement you want.
Yeah, there's so many, like on the sales side, what I see every day when I talk to the business owners and businesses, everyone is like, oh my gosh, like we forgot about this thing. A client called us and we forgot, or now it's sitting on somebody else's to-do list. Now we make sure that we write in our project management task for it. And then, oh, we didn't write the full picture of it. Oh, we forgot to follow up. Oh, it's still sitting in there. Now we have to enter it, like we have to push it to our next workflow. And the common frustration is we didn't catch the call. We forgot some details. We didn't get back to them on time. Oh, this person is still kind of holding all that information because they have too much on their plate.
Mm.
Oh, we didn't put together client onboarding and presented ourselves professionally. Like all of those things that we as a business, we try to make sure that we provide great service. We also try to make sure that we look professional and get back to our customers because we value our customers so much. But we don't know what we don't know. We don't know that there's a help that could come in and make that process smooth and kind of take care of that, I would say almost anxiety, over like, oh, like I need to make sure I do my best job ever.
Yeah, it's so funny as you were talking about those examples as a CEO, I'm like having anxiety. Like, is my team doing that? Are we doing all the onboarding? Are we doing all the communication? I'm starting to say that. So as you mentioned the word anxiety, I think one of the things that this does is it creates a, a better user experience. You can be more confident that your organization is set up to deliver on the promises that you're making to your customers all the way through. So, it feels like in the past we've tried to do that with some workflows, but AI enables the workflows to be better and enables the people to do a better job throughout every step of the process. So,
Yes. And I want to point out one thing, David. I want to point out that a lot of times people will see all of, all these capabilities that AI has, but it also takes effort. Meaning, it takes effort to build these integrations, takes effort to run like document the processes, document repeatable workflows, and now train and get the feedback from this AI. So it's not like magically AI could just land and be like, oh, I will get everything for you. It actually takes investment from time from the team members as well, from the leaders as well, to make sure that it's trained properly, it knows all the system that it has to go to and has the information about your company, it has the information about your processes, and they're also structured to it as well. Then you can really see the fruits of it. But and that's what it takes. It's not a magic kind of like a wand that you can just,
yeah.
wave in and be like, well, why is it not working? Why is this not like, oh, it's going to take that much, or it's going to take so much from our team, oh, it's going to take so much more effort. Well, then I don't see the point of it. Like, but yeah, if you don't have any processes, you don't have any repeatable workflows, and now you have to train that AI. You have to. It only knows what it sees. And then if you have systems that don't provide any backend access to it, there's no APIs available, can't really do much because it really needs that backend developer access
But
for
once
it
you
to thrive.
once you integrate all that in, you're creating a sales process or customer service process that's just so much more powerful, right? So it's
Yes.
delivering consistent sales execution, delivering consistent customer service execution, improving customer satisfaction, improving close rates on salespeople. Salespeople are growing revenue. So there's so many ways to improve the business and create a massive return on investment for the effort. So, well, you're clearly an expert in this area. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us, Sophia. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing your ideas. If people want to get in touch with you to learn more about your services and how you can help enable this new AI experience, then what's the best way to connect with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram. It's Zulfiya Forsythe. I keep it very simple. And one thing, if I also offer a free AI checklist. So
Oh,
if you're
excellent.
curious about, yeah, if you're curious about AI and see if your business is ready for AI, just comment AI checklist if you find me on these platforms, and I will send that over to you.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that, and we'll put the link to that in the notes to the show as well. So, Sophia,
Thank you.
thank you again for taking the time to be a guest today, and I really appreciate your insights.
Thank you, Dave.